Over the last couple of weeks, a woman named Jackie Weaver, previously unknown to most of us, has become a bit of a minor celebrity after a recording of December's meeting of Handforth Parish Council went viral. Since then, she has been all over social media. She has been in newspapers, she's been on our radios and TV sets talking about that now infamous meeting. For those of you who haven't seen or heard Jackie in action, let me explain a little. She'd stepped in to clerk for Handforth Parish Council, whose meetings have been somewhat chaotic. And what follows is remarkable in many ways. There are accusations, there's aggressive behaviour, there's some wonderful examples of people struggling to master technology, there are power struggles, there's all sorts. But the most memorable line from that recording, that Zoom meeting, it doesn't come from Jackie, but it comes from the chairperson, Brian Tolver, as he shouts, "You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver." And shortly after that, she ejects him from the Zoom meeting. Now, I'm not here today to debate Jackie's authority in the parish of Handforth, nor to discuss some of the problematic power dynamics in that Zoom video. What I want to do briefly is reflect on what Jesus is doing in John chapter 2. Because in John 2:18, the people in the temple in Jerusalem ask Jesus, "What sign can you show us to prove your authority to do all this?" Maybe that's their own way of suggesting that Jesus has no authority in that place. Let me read to you what happens in the lead up to the question. It says, "When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple courts he found people selling cattle, sheep and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. So he made a whip out of cords and drove all from the temple courts, both sheep and cattle. He scattered the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. To those who sold doves he said, 'Get these out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a market.' His disciples remembered that it is written, 'Zeal for your house will consume me.' And then they ask him, 'Show us a sign to prove your authority to do this.'" The question of authority, be it in parish council meetings or in temple courts, is an important one. Who has the right to do what? Who makes the ultimate decisions? Whose standards must we abide by? To whom are we accountable for our actions? Jesus' authority, as John has already told us in the first chapter of his gospel, comes from God and as God. And the proof that Jesus offers of his authority, the sign of it, will be in his death and resurrection, him defeating even death. But the people here in the temple, they don't understand. For each of us today in the here and now, there is still that question of authority. 1 Corinthians 3 says that we, as God's people, are now his temple, for his Spirit is living in us. So I wonder, if that's true, if we are the new temple, who has the authority in your life? Who has authority in your temple courts? Whose standards do you abide by? Your own or God's? What's more, if Jesus decides that some tables need overturning, that the temple needs clearing out, that changes need to be made in your life, how will you respond? Are you going to respond by shouting like a disgruntled chairperson, "You have no authority here," and continuing to do your own thing, to live as you always have? Or are you willing to submit to the authority of Jesus and to the changes he wants to make?